Coming up on Locked On NBA Daily. With a chance to beat the Magic last night, the Lakers botched the final possession between Luka and LeBron. Is this a sign of trouble in Los Angeles? And why one stat shows that LeBron may be the odd man out. Meanwhile, the Cavs got a big win over the Knicks last night and are looking like the favorites in the East. Locked On NBA Daily starts now.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in, on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg, and today we're talking about troubles with the Lakers and the Cavs as potential favorites in the Eastern Conference. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
I was almost 20 minutes late for the show today, and my esteemed co-hosts have kindly and courteously and professionally waited for me. When you have kids, there's going to be this temptation to start letting things slide. You're going to be like, well, it's fine. I have kids. I can be a little bit late. Don't do it. If you're somebody that's always on time, I was always on time. Don't do it. It will infest your life. You'll just be late for things constantly. Don't let it happen to you. Save yourself.
What happens if you were always late before kids? Like in my case,
You just don't show up. You become the person that just never shows. You're not there.
Just canceling things. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
You know, I did that at becoming a father at 19. I found out very quickly that I would tell my kids, either you're coming with me on time or I'm leaving you, and I would leave them.
Hopefully, just at home.
Oh, at home, not like in public. I mean, now they're all teenagers, so I will leave them at the mall.
Call yourself an Uber. You guys can figure it out. Let's talk about the Lakers here. They lose to the Magic last night. They blew a 12-point lead, botched the final play with a chance with the go-ahead shot. And I don't know if you guys saw Brian Windhorst on First Take this morning, but he was citing lineup data that basically said that the Lakers are a bad offensive team when they have all three of LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves on the court together. It's something that they've also been talking about quite a bit over at Locked On Lakers. Let's play that clip.
It's funny, for all of the concerns about this team defensively and how on paper they do not profile to be a strong defensive team, it is the offense for the last few weeks that has been in the absolute crapper. And tonight was no exception. It was beyond a disjointed night offensively. It was frankly a weird night offensively between LeBron, Luka, and Austin, all for kind of different reasons and to varying effects. But if you were hoping that after the conversations following the Celtics loss about better ball movement and the search for more offensive cohesion between Luka, Austin, and LeBron, tonight did not put any of your concerns at ease in the slightest.
So, guys, I pulled the specific lineup data that we're all talking about here from Cleaning the Glass. LeBron, Luka, and Reeves together, when they're on the court, the Lakers are being outscored by almost 7.5 points per 100 possessions when those three are on the court together. That's bad. It's bad when it's Luka and LeBron. It's bad when it's just Reeves and LeBron. You take LeBron out of the equation, and it's Luka and Reeves. The Lakers are outscoring teams by almost 12 points per 100 possessions. That's a 19-point swing. When you're talking about LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, or Luka and Reeves without LeBron. Now, the lineup data with LeBron and no Luka and no Reeves, also okay for the Lakers, but that's a big story and a troubling stat. What do you make of these numbers, Matt?
So I want to look at how they do versus the good teams, because this is their problem, right? Is that like you can kind of single out their performance versus the good teams is really the issue. They're 15th when they face a top 10 defense this season in offensive rating, and that's really concerning for a team that is so indexed on them. I think if we kind of move past the numbers, we can look at LeBron has never really played in a system with a Luka ball James Harden type. And you can say, like, well, LeBron is one. Not really. Not really. Like, LeBron moves the ball a lot more and does, like, run give and go a lot with his bigs. And, like, will actually make, like, different moves and kind of these other kind of mechanisms. I don't think LeBron's really suited for that thing, especially not at this point in his career. I think defensively also, like, that just fallen off a cliff. It's fallen off a cliff. Like the numbers are very concerning that basically Father Time may not have defeated him, but he's got him up against the ropes. What's weird is that like Reeves and Luka should be okay together, but I just kind of find that this team doesn't have the kind of personnel that I thought it did. I honestly thought they would be okay to be able to run Luka ball, and they're having a really hard time, and it just winds up with a lot of inefficiency overall. And like I point a lot of this at Luka. That's where I go with this.
Of course, you go with it being Luka because you hate Luka. No, I'm just playing. Mine doesn't hate Luka Dončić, but I mean, I think the data is there as clear as that LeBron doesn't fit in with what they're trying to do. Like you can say that Luka is an inefficient player and he does have problems, but Austin Reeves and Luka on the court together are perfectly fine. And there's something to be said about that. And I think if you take LeBron off this team and replace him with the player that more fits what Luka does, maybe some of those inefficiencies and balances work out a little bit better. It's clear. And this is why, LeBron isn't going to be back with the Lakers. So we're talking about an issue that is there and it is real, but we already know there's a resolve coming for that at the end of this year. And that is they're going to have to move forward without LeBron James and continue building this roster around Luka. We knew that coming into the season. That was probably the thing. Rich Paul and LeBron knew that was probably going to be the thing coming into the season once they were phased out of the offseason plan. So this is the data is great to have and it's good to point to and have something that you can use that's tangible, but we already knew what was going to be happening with LeBron with this Lakers team is that he's either fit in or you could fit out. Right now, it looks like he's fitting out.
Isn't some of this like that? Because I'm looking at like him and Gabe Vincent, they cooked before they moved on from Vincent. Him and Jackson Haize are good. Him and Rui are good. I wonder how much of this is it's a 2, not 3 problem, right? Like that's what this feels like, where it's like Reeves can operate as a secondary shooter and ball handler, but LeBron can't act as the third guy. Like with 3 guys, it's just a little too much. And we've seen some other failures with kind of 3-star lineups in the last couple of years, Wes. I think maybe that's something to look at here too.
That's kind of where my mind went. When I'm watching these Lakers games and those 3 guys are on the court at the same time, sometimes it's like this offensive explosion. You're just like, how can anybody contain these 3 guys? How can anybody stay in front of this Lakers team? More often than not, it's just one of those 3 guys taking a tough shot. It's Luka going into a step back, LeBron slowing the game down until the last 2 seconds of the shot clock and is pulling up from somewhere. Austin Reeves trying to get by his defender. I just think that at some point when you have 3 guys just out there kind of playing horse, trying to out tough shot each other, it's really cool when one of them makes a tough shot, but that sort of leads to inefficient offense, right? Because for all those made tough shots that look really cool and make a highlight reel, there's a lot of misses in there too. And I think that's part of the problem. And when LeBron is on the court with either Reeves, I think it's figured out how to play off the ball. He's had to play off the ball his entire Lakers tenure. And then when he's on the ball, he can be very explosive. Luka isn't great off the ball, but for some reason when LeBron is off the ball, that's when the numbers really start to get ugly. And I think with LeBron, he's just decided, okay, if I'm off the ball, I'm not really going to cut. I'm not really a floor spacer in the way that maybe Luka teams might just respect him more from deep. I don't really know what the problem with that part of the equation is, Haize.
I mean, it's a lot of different wrinkles into it, but I think at some point, just the problem is the players, and these players they're not gonna magically change to different players overnight. This is what the data is telling us. We saw it a little bit last year as well. I think at the last couple of games of the season, they end up turning into where they were net positive with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves all on the court together, and barely they did that. This is an inherent problem with the roster that you have here. I think it's just that simple.
Wes and I are like trying to diagnose a complicated problem, and Haize is just like their cheeks. Why are
Sometimes you just have to
Haize,
kill it. You have to kill it dead.
Cheeks.
You raised an interesting. Did they wait too long to do this? Like you're talking about the fact that we kind of all saw that this was coming. LeBron and Rich Paul had the statement before the season started with the Lakers.
Yes,
there was a little bit of rumblings there before the trade deadline. Like, did they just wait too long? Because LeBron could just leave this offseason and they could get nothing for him.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. They're just going to use that cap space and sign somebody else. But like, look, to me, this was always the case where it's like they made it clear. Again, they made a power move. The Luka Dončić trade was a no-brainer. It was also a power move in the way that they did it. And since that time, like this divorce has been inevitable. But LeBron was not going to walk away from the 52. Like he just wasn't going to walk away from that $52 million in another year in LA with his family. So he'll wrap it up in Cleveland next year, and we'll call it good. because I find that too many shows do this where it's like we do it for a reason, which is the Lakers are the most popular team in the world. I do just want to say, how about a win for the Magic? Like Wendell Carter Jr. gets the putback on that play, 20 points, 11 rebounds for WCJ, who I think has been great. But the big one here, how about Paolo Banchero?
Big night.
36 points on 22 shots, 10 boards, 6 assists. Like this could be a launching point for Orlando. I'm very interested to see if they can build on this.
Haize, they helped erase all that helped erase a 12-point deficit for Orlando. Good win.
Yeah, it's good with Orlando. We know what Orlando can be a really good team. We've seen it happen. This whole thing fell apart for them this season. I had them being a chance to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, so we know the Magic can be good.
Anthony Black deserves a shout out too. He got the offensive rebound, just screaming in for that offensive rebound that led to the Wendell Carter Jr. go ahead put back there. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference, the Cavaliers got a big win over the Knicks last night, and they're playing as well as anybody in the East. But they're pointing to one big reason for why they're confident in a potential matchup against the Knicks in the playoffs. We're going to tell you what it is after this. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flight, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title. It adds an extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your picks cash in, but it can also send you to the finals. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on NBA Future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We are Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. I want to talk about another game that we were looking forward to last night, Knicks-Cavs. The Cavs dominate the Knicks in this one, and a big reason why was because of their defense on Jalen Brunson. Here's more on that from Locked On Cavs.
I know that I do think that this starting lineup is the right decision, and I think we saw why in this game on Tuesday night. So Dean Wade opens up the game as the primary defender for Jalen Brunson, and I don't have the tracking data as of right now to really go over it, but he spent a lot of time defending Brunson, and Jalen Brunson struggled again against the Cavs. Just really whoever was defending Jalen Brunson, I thought for the most part did a very good job, and I think that's the biggest reason why the Cavs won this game, because if Jalen Brunson doesn't have it going on, the Knicks are going to struggle offensively unless they get some outlier performance like we saw on Christmas Day, because this is not some new thing for the Cavs. Like, they've done such a good job this year as a whole defending Jalen Brunson, and this was the latest example of it. And part of the reason why I think that Cavs fans should be confident if the Cavs and Knicks square off in the playoffs, because they've got guys they can throw at Brunson.
So after the game, then you hear guys on the Cavaliers talking about how confident they are heading into the playoffs. You heard Danny Cunningham there talk about confidence and why they should be confident in a potential matchup against the Cavs. Haize, do you think that they should be this confident?
I think so. I think that they should. I think the matchups have pointed towards that. I can understand why they have the confidence and keep playing this out. So I think they should. I could agree with Danny on that one.
They've already lost the season series. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. Like they didn't sweep this team. Good. Great job. You got to win. Congrats. Good job. I'm really worried about it. It was a better performance last night from Evan Mobley on the glass. Jared Allen and him combined for 17 rebounds, and that's a big deal. The Cavs had more offensive rebounds than the Knicks. That's really significant. Like, that matters because when you look at the Cavs did have more offensive rebounds than the Knicks. When you look at Mitch Robinson and his impact, like, I felt like for 2.5 quarters, the Knicks were playing actually pretty good basketball, and they weren't getting shots to go. And then the Cavs just kind of broke this away. I am less convinced about this series than that game kind of showing it. Although, look, the numbers are the numbers, and being, them locking down on Brunson, I think is an interesting idea. I'll have to go back and kind of watch it in detail to see if Jalen just missed shots or if they actually were able to figure out something that genuinely bothered Jalen Brunson, because I still am a little bit cautious about how this playoff matchup might work out.
Yeah, I rewatched that game this morning, and the Dean Wade factor was a big one, right? They start with Dean Wade on him.
Dean
Yeah,
Wade!
I know we're here we go. I think that's size, right? You think about the amount of size that the Cavaliers have defensively. Now, even with James Harden, who's not a great defender, he's at least big. Like, they're just able to throw these bodies at Jalen Brunson, who is a small guard, and I think that does bother him a little bit. The Evan Mobley point is a great one. He outplays Karl-Anthony Towns in this one. I know Towns was like 5 for 5 or whatever. I had to check the box score to make sure he played in that game. It's just another disappearing game for Towns. We all, they were going to talk about Brunson all this stuff too, and obviously slowing him down helps. But if Towns doesn't step up, that's a big problem for the Knicks. It's been all year long. I want to look at the board here on FanDuel, because the Cavs are now the favorites in the Eastern Conference at plus 300. Boston's at plus 330. Detroit's at plus 350. The Knicks are all the way down there at plus 450. I think we looked at these odds maybe last week, and since then, the Cavs have only become more of the favorites, and the Knicks have only slid down the board here a little bit. The Cavs have the NBA's best record since Christmas, and they are 6-1 since trading for James Harden. Haize, what have you seen from the Cavaliers specifically, not just in this Knicks matchup, but what have you seen from them that you like lately?
I mean, honestly, having another extra healthy body with Darius Garland just not being out there healthy is a big thing. But then I think also, like, it's more natural balance. I won't say that James Harden is facilitating necessarily as much as I would have liked him to when he came to the Cavaliers. It's only 7 games so far. He's still averaging almost 19 points per game, and he's averaging almost 8 assists per game as well. So I think that him bringing that balance where, he can facilitate more than I think Darius Garland ever could. I think that's what's making a big difference here.
You want to know something weird? They have a negative net rating with James Harden on the floor.
Really? I would not have expected that, to be honest.
I did not either. But what's happened is I think that having Harden has made it to where Mitchell doesn't have to do as much, so Mitchell can be better. There's a lot of this in the NBA. It's not just about injuries. It's about exhaustion. It's about how much is the game taken away from you physically? And I think having Harden available and healthy, unlike Garland, and being able to just be like a couple of possessions, like, hey, you don't have to do everything here on this play, Donovan. I'm just going to get downhill and lob it to Jared Allen. And that combo being able to work together, that combo is really good with him and Allen. So that, to me, I think is a large part of this. I think that they will probably continue to get a little bit better. But, like, if you want the worrisome number here, with Donovan Mitchell on the floor, they got a 113 defensive rating. With James Harden on the floor, it's 121. I'm always going to go the other way, and people call it contrarianism. It's largely built off of the fact that I've just done this for 18 years. So I feel like I have a good sense of whenever you're like, oh, it's definitely, this is what's happening. Wait 2 weeks, and then we're going to feel entirely differently, because you list off those odds from FanDuel, Wes, and my immediate reaction is like, yeah, it's probably the Knicks are the play here, because I think their floor is a lot higher than kind of what the market is showing for them.
It's a great call. I will just point out, though, with the Cavaliers, this recent success predates the James Harden trade. Since Christmas, they have the league's best record. They're, in that span, 3rd in offensive rating, 7th in defensive rating, 5th in net rating overall. After a shaky start to the season, a lot of people kind of wrote them off. They've leveled things a little bit.
A good example of how the contrarianism can go the other way. Everyone like loses their mind when they get Keon Ellis, and I'm like, okay, like, can we calm down? It's just Keon Ellis. Right. Keon Ellis has been awesome for them, and having that defensive combo of Schroeder and Ellis that they can go to, giving Kenny Atkinson more defenders that he feels like he can play is massive, because it means that he doesn't overload those lineups with offensive only players, which has been a complaint of mine for years. So Keon Ellis has been an absolute game changer, I think, for them.
To Haize's point too, like, it's not just James Harden, it's getting Keon Ellis, getting Dennis Schroeder. This team now getting Dean Wade back in the lineup. Max Strus still hasn't played for them. Who knows if he'll play for them at all this season? But outside of Strus, like, this team went from really hurt and not a lot of depth, Haize, to now a lot of depth. When you look at this roster, right, you could argue that they're maybe as talented, as deep as any team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely make that conversation. I think the Keon Ellis part by Matt is really big there. I mean, Matt was questioning, we had the conversation, like, why wasn't he playing a lot of minutes? Well, his minutes here with Cleveland has been really good, and you're finding ways to use them correctly. So I think the depth there and the different types of lineups that they can throw out is really going to be a key for them making adjustments in the playoffs.
By the way, one correction. They have a negative. They are worse with Harden on the court than off, but they still win his minutes by 5 points per 100 possessions. Onto your point, the other guy here. So again, to me, this is about lineup composition. Wes, is in the playoffs, you need to be able to throw out different kind of lineups. And I flamed Atkinson and do not regret it and would do it again for how he played Sam Merrill in that series versus the Pacers, when I was like, you have to put defenders on the court versus this team. What are you doing? Why are you starting Sam Merrill? And they may run into that same problem with Harden, but look at this, who they've got able to throw out there now. You mentioned Dean Wade, Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and Jalen Tyson, who I think has been absolutely phenomenal. They have defenders who can score. And if you can put those guys on the court with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, you're in a really good position to be able to put together the kind of answers you need in a playoff series.
It's a great point. I'm so glad you brought up Tyson, because he has been such an addition for them. He basically is giving them everything that they hoped DeAndre Hunter would give them, and is doing it at a really high level. They're throwing out weird lineups too in that game against the Knicks, with like Dean Wade at the 5. Well, they'll take Jared Allen and Mobley off. So you see Kenny Atkinson maybe experimenting a little bit here. Something to monitor there. For our next segment, I haven't told you guys about it. It's a surprise draft. We're going to do it after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position that you still have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I'll be talking to you, companies like yours will make 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on Locked On NBA. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked On Cavs, Locked On Knicks, Locked On Lakers for more on today's top stories. All right, surprise segment for you guys. It's a draft, but it's not just any kind of draft. I want you guys to draft current NBA players based on 5 different categories that I'm going to tell you guys, and it needs to form a starting 5. And at the end, I'll tell you which one of you has the better starting 5. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. All right. First one. First category. Haize, we'll start with you. Draft 1 rookie.
AJ DeBonsa.
I should say rookie this season.
Oh, Cooper Flag.
Matt.
VJ Edgecombe.
Good
Okay.
one.
Draft 1 player over 7 feet tall.
Who goes first?
Oh, back to you, Haize.
Nikola Jokic.
Victor Wembanyama.
Someone who shoots worse than 35% from 3. You can like guesstimate. It doesn't have to be exact.
Crap. Go ahead, Matt. Let me think on this.
Kate Cunningham.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't expect him to get it that fast. Below 35% from 3. Forget Evan Mobley.
Somebody on the Grizzlies.
The hell would want that?
Gotta have a weak link in the starting lineup.
Cedric Howard.
Zach Edey.
Swerve there from Matt. Okay, and then last position here, a Jalen, and it could be any version of the spelling. Just anybody named Jalen.
Jalen Williams.
Suggs.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. So, Haize, your team, Cooper Flag, Nikola Jokic, Evan Mobley, Cedric Howard and Jalen Williams. Who's playing point guard for you?
Jokic.
Yeah, Jokic.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Little concerned about the lack of shooting there. We're going to need Flag to develop that three-point shot in a hurry. Jalen Williams, not so good this year. Was very good from three last year, but that's going to be, and hopefully Cedric Howard can keep making threes. Don't hate it. A lot of size. That could be a problem defensively for opponents. Matt, your team is VJ Edgecombe, Victor Wembanyama, Cade Cunningham, Zach Edey, and Jalen Suggs. So you've got Cade and Suggs in your backcourt alongside Edgecombe.
Yes.
And then you've got Wemby and Edey in the middle.
VJ and Wemby are my spacers. You're never scoring at the rim. You're probably not scoring on the perimeter because I have Cade and Suggs.
On the point of attack too. Yeah.
It's defense and threes, baby.
It's good. It's good.
Do we claim that we have a winner here? Who do we think?
I mean, he has Jokic.
Head-to-head.
He has Jokic.
I have
He's got
Jokic.
Jokic. Jokic and Mobley is tough.
He has, Mobley's. I've been talking about this. I'm going to be talking about this a lot on Locked On Nuggets. That I think the key is with Aaron Gordon data is it proves you have to have a rim protection for backline behind Jokic. So if you're going to do that, having Evan Mobley is pretty much the perfect guy to have to do that. So yeah, like I think that's pretty great. On the other hand,
Yeah, Mobley kind of filling that Aaron Gordon type role in like a super sized way is pretty scary.
On the other hand, I have Cade Cunningham and I have Victor Wembanyama. And I'm just going to run pick and pop with Cade Cunningham and Victor Wembanyama over and over and over and over and over again with Zach Edey in the dunker spot.
I think I might go with Haize's team just because
I'm
he
gonna
has
say
the best
everybody
player.
on my team could force Wemby out of the paint.
And I don't know that Matt has enough spacing to make
Yeah.
Haize's team pay for it. So I think Haize wins that. This is not make it take it, but I like both of these teams. I thought both of you guys did a really good job. Matt, really quick, tonight's game, you mentioned over at Locked On Nuggets, big game tonight. Celtics at Nuggets. Denver's been struggling here. What do they got to do to get off the schneid?
Guard a 3-pointer ever. Like just put a hand up. Maybe just like try putting a hand up sometimes. Jamal Murray's playing awful defense. Yoke's playing awful defense. They've got no defensive verve. We'll see how they play. But we'll see also if Jaylen Brown plays in this game. Sat out last night. It's a back-to-back altitude spot for Boston, which is not ideal. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? Why do we keep having these teams in the worst possible positions for marquee games? Hey, there's a game everybody wants to see. I know. Let's completely ruin it by putting him in the worst rest and travel position possible. Yay! I hate it. 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 But I do think Boston wins this game.
Haize, who do you like?
Boston. I'm not betting against Boston the rest of the way.
Ooh.
Find out what happens on Locked On NBA Game Night today. And if you like what you heard on this show today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.